Professor Yuen, in your work, as I said earlier, you developed a typology of corruption. Tell us a bit more about how you see excess money, how you define it, and where or how does it most commonly manifest itself?
Thank you very much, Helen. I'm very excited and honored to see the Helen Clark Foundation report engaging with my research and in particular emphasizing the risk of excess money. This is a concept I introduced in a new typology of corruption, the Unbundled Corruption Index, or UCI. This is a pilot effort covering 15 cases, and you can also find it in my book, China's Gilded Age. So why did I create the UCI? The reason is that conventional corruption metrics, primarily Transparency International's Corruption Perceptions Index, the World Bank's Control of Corruption Index, are flawed or even misleading. They measure corruption as a one-dimensional problem, and these metrics consistently show us that rich democracies are very clean, while only poor countries are highly corrupt. So these one-dimensional metrics like the CPI, number one, obscure the fact that different types of corruption cannot be reduced to a single score. And number two, they systematically undermeasure what I call excess money, an activity that tends to be legalized, institutionalized, and ambiguously unethical, as opposed to bribery, embezzlement, and extortion. So to give you an overview of the 4 types of corruption, I'm going to briefly share my screen and show you my elemental skills in drawing. So I hope everyone can see this 4-part figure showing you 4 types of corruption. Now in this typology, you can see corruption divided along 2 dimensions. The first dimensions being whether that activity is being carried out by non-elites like street-level police officers or elites like national political leaders and big companies. The second dimension tells us whether that particular activity involves theft of public resources or whether it involves exchanges. The intersection of these 2 dimensions produces 4 types of corruption. Now, the public is familiar with the first 3 types. Number 1, petty theft. You can think of that as an example, police officers shaking down people on the street in an extortionary way. The second is what I call grand theft, national elites siphoning massive sums from public treasuries into private accounts overseas. And the third is speed money, petty bribes paid to regular officials to overcome red tape and delay and to grease the wheels of bureaucracy. Now, all of these 3 types are illegal. They are rampant in poor country and they are condemned. But corruption comes in a 4th and more elusive variety, and that is what I call excess money. In this kind of transactional activity, powerful capitalists offer high-stakes rewards to powerful officials or policymakers in exchange, not just for speed, but also for access to exclusive, lucrative privileges. Examples include bailouts, cheap credit, land grants, monopoly rights, procurement contracts, tax breaks, and the like. Excess money can manifest in illegal forms, such as massive bribes and kickbacks, but it also exists in perfectly legal forms. An example is lobbying, which Philippa highlighted earlier. Now, lobbying by itself, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Lobbying is a legitimate means of political representation in democracies such as the United States. Taken to an extreme, however, lobbying can be abused. Extremely powerful and wealthy lobby groups can fund political campaigns in exchange for outsized influence over laws and policy. So by differentiating between these 4 types of corruption, what I hope to do is to help us bring awareness to the distinction between what might be termed corruption of poor countries, which we are all familiar with, bribery, embezzlement, extortion. But the fourth type is the one that we have always been underemphasizing for a long time, which is access money. So I'm really delighted and very impressed by the Helen Clark Foundation's efforts in your willingness to confront the risk of access money. Thank you.